this healing journey, the self-love journey. And what's coming up for us is doing things for the long game, for the long run, for the, and what do we mean by that? We always catch up before we like get started on here. And by the way, you can always check more of us out on selfloveexodus.com, our website. We do things weekly and monthly. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just jumping straight right into it. Hallie, what's coming up for you with this topic of the long game? What are we talking about? The long game.
Well, I think that everyone's life lesson on this planet is patience, first of all. Like, who doesn't struggle with patience? Who isn't here to learn patience? And the faster that our society moves, the faster that technology moves, the less patience we seem to have, So when we think about our lives, when we think about the lives of others, when we think about this world and this society and like that which needs to change and heal, and it's like it can feel very overwhelming if we're not thinking about the long game. It can feel like there's nothing that's possible, and we can feel really stuck in the problem, because if we're in a problem, or if we're holding space for someone else in a problem, then we're just like in the problem if we feel like it needs to be fixed right now, But if we pan out and like give grace to the longer journey, then we can all just kind of relax into it a lot more.
It's kind of like seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah,
seeing the bigger picture and what's
holding a vision.
Yeah, holding the vision.
And giving that vision time, giving that vision time to play out and unravel and do its thing. And I feel like whenever I have a more long game perception, I experience like instant manifestations. It's really interesting because what holding a long game, holding like a long haul vision or view does is it gives you, it gives you more like relaxation in the moment. And when you're relaxed, then you can manifest really easily.
Yeah. And what's like difficult about like doing things for the long game or having that perspective is that there's the pain that's involved in that. There's growing pains involved in that. There might be some things that you're seeing that you need to do that's going to suck, or it's going to feel very challenging. But then see, there's like this there's this term called delayed gratification where like you see it paying off because it's for the long game. Me and my partner were hanging out with my older sister and a friend of hers, and my partner kept on talking about doing things for the long run, the long game. And I'll just share since we're talking about this is an example of where like he was expressing about how one of his brothers would just like fuck up all the time, and my partner's the oldest in the family, sibling wise, and he had to be like the parent. But like, when you're the person who is the responsible one and seeing things for the long run, seeing things for the long game, and like what you need to do for that like long game, especially when it's for the whole, see that bigger picture for the whole. It's not just for you, but it's like you're doing things for the whole, and you're seeing someone like in the family unit that's just like not in alignment, just like being there. They're here. They don't see all this, but they're here, and they're just fucking up and doing this and doing that. And how he chose to just, he had his moment, but like he just stepped into more and more, and like with his self-love practice and stuff, he was able to fully accept like his brother for where he's at and just like be loving anyways, show unconditional love anyways, like never stop showing up anyways. Even though it took his brother 10 years to get his shit together, he got his shit together. And the relationship was still able to be like this, not like this.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. That is beautiful. But I'm sure he had to really process anything that came up. If he was mad or anything, he would go out and process it himself. He would take it out on his workouts and come back with love, continue to do the work for the whole, continue to do the work for the long game. And so when I look at him, that's why he has so much peace in his life, because he he saw himself like stay committed to this long game. So that's what you get with sticking it in for the long game. Peace, inner peace, and more proud moments, and seeing it pay off, and thus patience. That's the patience that you're talking about. So that is just a great real life example of what it can look like for you in your life when you're able to have that like perspective and seeing like, how are my choices right now for right now, and what are my choices that's able to build to this like vision that I have, this like big picture that I see, that the long game.
Yeah. And if you're committed to the long game, then you're less likely to give up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anyone who started a business has experienced like, this isn't working. Nobody wants my offerings. This is happening really slow.
This is happening right now.
Should I be doing this? I don't know. This is really hard. But if you're like, okay, but in 5 years, if I keep up this momentum, in 10 years, if I stay committed and keep showing up, this is going to look really different. You know,
Yeah.
Same with relationships. Like if you go into a relationship and you're kind of committed, you're committed to the long game, then you just have more ease navigating the day-to-day, because you're not expecting things to be fully ripened, fully bloomed, fully blossomed right away, which is impossible. It like defies metaphysics and physics, you know? Things take time to ripen.
Totally. How does that, like, I feel like you've been talking about so much flow in your life and like accepting the changes that are happening, and when we were catching up, I was mentioning, you see how like outside looking in, it might look like, oh, Holly has it so easy. She's just flowing and abundant all the time. Like, right? Like there's something about you sticking in a certain path because you see the long game, that's providing you this experience where you're able to really accept the changes, like your car being being totaled, and being more on foot. Like, yeah, how was that connected to the long game for you? Being able to be where you're at right now.
Well, a lot of my long game journey is my alone time. I spend a lot of time by myself, with myself, tending to self. Oftentimes that time is really lonely, you know? And so I have to remind myself that like the self-investment that I'm doing is to prepare for many abundant relationships in my life, you know? So I would say that that's the main thing, and my business too.
Yeah,
it's like my work. It's like, you know, today I have these couple of tasks that feel alive for me to do. This is one of the long game, or this is one of my strategies in life that I've really adopted over the past year or so, is if it's not lighting me up, then it's not for me to do. It's for me to either outsource and delegate, or to just take off my plate completely. And so when I'm living in this way, like if I'm just doing what really lights me up, then I'm doing less, because I'm not just like tasking for the sake of it. You know what I mean? So I'm freeing up more energy to have more experiences and have more flow in my life. And that's a long game thing. I think that deconditioning and deprogramming is a long game thing,
because you're seeing the long-term benefits of it.
Yeah, and it takes time to undo all of the ways that we've been programmed to be that aren't authentic to who we actually are. That's a long game thing.
Yeah.
But it like really pays off, and it really benefits. And having a lot of alone time, everyone's different in this, but I'm someone that like having a lot of alone time has been really essential for my deprogramming, because I'm needing to know who I am, you know, to make more correct choices for myself.
There we go.
But also the universe is making my choices.
The universe is supporting you, because I feel like, and this is how I understand with like the universe, how it works. It will respond to like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Consistently, how you're feeling, what you're doing. It's like, all right, I see you. And it's like, yeah, it's gonna mirror back to you like what you're saying with your actions. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
And it's gonna give you things that are correct for you.
Yeah.
Either to learn from, right? Either to learn from, like to like really like strengthen you up in certain ways, or to thrive in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're curious for you, like, what is the long game for you? You know, and what does it look like? Is there enduring involved? Is there like asking it, like life asking for you to continue to grow, continue to be the one to dive in and do the healing work, or the one to stay committed, the one to hold the vision, the one to have like understanding and empathy, why other people are not on the same page as you, right? Like, what does it look like? What's coming up for me also is like, as I'm navigating through a big change that's happening within my family, we have a family member that's in rehab right now. And this is something like uncharted territory. Like, we have never been here before. And so like navigating through this big change also, I need to see what's the long game here. You know, it's going to be a journey to recover from addiction. And what does that look like? And the more that I'm able to understand that, the more that I'm able to stay in for the long game instead of rejecting it and like giving up, like, this is too much, like, bye, Felicia, you know, like, what is the long game going to look like? What does it look like for me, knowing that there's this change?
Yeah.
Right? Is this a part of the long game? Because yeah, and like having compassion and understanding and continuing to be loving on my family members that I wish that could show up more, that I wish that could be on the same page as where I'm at, like going to support groups and stuff like that, like being more active with the situation versus numbing it away or kind of like, I don't want to like, hey, we're not on vacation, okay? There's just so much work to do, but like even that right then and there, right? Like, meeting them with where they're at and like really stepping
like
in.
Long game vision for them too.
Yes, and somebody needs to be there. Somebody needs to steer the ship. Somebody needs to like, you know, and recognizing that for me and seeing identifying what the long game looks like for me and like owning that and holding a safe space and love for everyone else who is on their own journey navigating through this. So the long game is going to pay off. Like, even talking about this, like, I feel like there's something that's coming up for me that's uncomfortable, but like, I know that that's the next inner work to really accept. That's what it is, to really accept. Yeah. Accept my parents, for an example, to see where they're at and having that be okay. You know, as much as I want them to like be in it like how I am, I know that I can't change them. And long game for them too.
Long game for them too.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that you just brought up the word acceptance, because that's the fundamental piece to the long game.
Yeah.
It's like the long game, like the definition of the long game is accepting the whole game at every moment, wherever it's at.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and I think that that's the difference, right? Short-term gratification is about things needing to be different now, changing something now. I need this to be done, you know? The long game is like, okay, I can be with this.
Mm-hmm.
I can be with this.
Whew. Yeah. So, I mean, with that said, we are huge on holding safe spaces to support you in your journey of acceptance, your journey of processing, your journey of being, and your journey of compassion, you know, with these self-love offerings, meditation every single week on Thursday. And once a month, we do a 2-hour workshop to really do the work. So we're here for you. We're here for you. And if you need extra support, you can always reach out, because support is around. Support is here to support you for the long game. We can do it. We can do it. And there's power in community. There's power in seeing that you need support, and that's okay that you need support. Who said that you have to do it all by yourself? Who said that?
And who doesn't need support?
Yeah. Like, oh my God, there was another conversation last night where it's like, you know, we've been ingrained thinking that we need to do it by ourselves. And there's people who say that they've done it all by themselves, not seeing it actually did. There was support along the way. Like, yes, you definitely did things by yourself, and also recognizing the support that was involved in that. Like, really think about any successful person think about like, yeah, you went on this journey, like the self-love journey, there's a lot of alone in that. I mean, you need to do the work. And there have been programs or people who have cheered you on along the way. That's support. You know, people who check in on you, that's support. People offering this, that's support. So yeah, it's okay. I just want to say it's okay to have support. And for those of you who have been hurt thinking that they're, you know, like, and there's that, you've been hurt with thinking that somebody was supportive. Hey, there was something that was missed there. You get to really practice, what's it called, discernment. Really practice discernment and seeing if someone is really there for you for the long game, and if someone is really there and displaying qualities of a safe person. That is, I mean, from my own personal experience, that's what's missing. We didn't have the discernment. We didn't have the critical thinking skills. We didn't have the self-love. We didn't have the expansive, like, what's it called? Perspective to really identify someone who's actually not healthy.
But you know what? I really feel on this topic, like the more that we create safety within ourselves, the more the safe people just show up.
Boom.
And the unsafe people just aren't really, they just stop coming, kind of a thing. Like, it just takes care of itself, but it really happens within the self. Everything happens within the self.
Yeah. Because if you're seeing like yourself being able to be safe with yourself to express, for example, to cry with yourself, and you're witnessing yourself being in a safe space for that, you will know, like when you're with somebody, you will know when you don't feel safe. Yeah, it's always with self. Yeah, you experience it for yourself, so you're able to catch it out there in the world and protect your lovely heart. All right, with that said, well, we're here for the long game of the healing and self-love work. And we're going to continue to show up. And so if you have any questions, let us know. And we will see you later. See you next week. Bye.